Have you noticed that you're getting fewer matches on Tinder? Or maybe you're just not getting any at all? Hey, welcome to Online for Love, your #1 resource for dating by the numbers. Today I'm going to be going over an online dating app called Tinder, but more specifically, I'm going to be talking about what being shadow banned is and how you can get yourself to not be shadow banned. Before I get into all that though, I do need to tell you guys about our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70+ articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. And another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the Tinder opening line formula, we've discovered that users have received 3 times the response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in our links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. Now, in order to make this review a bit easier to comprehend, I've broken it down into these 5 sections. The first of which is what is the Tinder shadow ban, then what causes Tinder to shadow ban you, then how to tell if you're shadow banned, then how to remove shadow bans, and then finally what to avoid with a new account. So without further ado, let's jump into #1 on my list, which is what is a Tinder shadow ban. So we all know what Tinder is, and it's an online dating app that is great for hookups. It's also great for finding people who are looking for serious relationships. But when Tinder actually gives you a shadow ban, it means that it believes you are breaking the rules to the point where it doesn't want to let you know that you're banned, and it will let you continue using the app, and hopefully you just stop and go away. It may seem like there's nothing actually wrong with the app, and you can even still use the app, but the truth is that other users cannot actually see your account, and they will never swipe right or left on you or communicate with you because you are not visible to them. So disobeying Tinder's guidelines will cause you to be banned in 1 or 2 ways. There's just the regular ban where they notify you. They might not tell you why they're banning you, but they've completely banned you. And shadow banning is what they do typically with people who have broken the rules multiple times. And so they shadow ban them so that they continue using that shadow banned account rather than making a new one, and they eventually give up and walk away from the app. So if you haven't broken the rules multiple times and you feel like you've followed everything pretty well, and there's never been a point in the past where Tinder has banned you from their app, then more than likely you aren't shadow banned and there's something else going on with your app. But if you have been banned multiple times and you feel like the app is not working for you anymore, more than likely you've been shadow banned. So this is going to move me into #2 on my list, but before I jump into that, I did want to ask you guys to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, it really does help push our videos out so that more users can utilize this information from us here at Online for Love. We super duper appreciate it. So this is going to move me onto #2 on my list, which is what causes Tinder to shadow ban you. So the main reasons for being shadow banned is because somebody reported you for a photo that you've sent or a photo that you have in your profile, some language that you've used when communicating with other people. And there's also been some people who have actually been banned for like animal cruelty because they have like hunting photos and things along the lines of that. So there is a range of like justification in getting banned. So some people feel like that it was unjustified and other people feel like I was doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing and whatnot. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that because you weren't banned before that you can't get shadow banned. So there's different levels of being shadow banned too. You can have a complete shadow ban where it prevents you from being seen by anybody on the app. But then there's also light shadow bans where it prevents your profile from having the same amount of reach that other profiles would. So you can still interact with some people, let's say, and you can still swipe right and left on other people, but it's not going to show you to as many people as it did before. Typically though, if there is something like a hard piece that's causing the shadow ban, like a photo for example, if you remove that photo, it will typically immediately lift that shadow ban and you would notice results from there. So the truth of the matter is that you can get shadow banned for having inappropriate photos, sending inappropriate texts, and things along the lines of that. You can also get shadow banned too for just users reporting you on just about anything. I had some friends who had a situation where they showed up late for a date and their other user had reported them for being a fake person because they didn't show up on time, and then they're like, oh, you are a real person, you did show up, but that shadow ban transferred anyway. So things like that can happen in the Tinder world. Though that second part is not as likely, it's more likely that you did something that has evidence to it. So if you want to make sure that your profile is as spruced up as possible, you're following all the guidelines to make sure you don't get shadow banned, I do highly recommend that you check out our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70+ articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. And if you want to make sure that you're going to be getting some great matches and having great conversations that lead to great dates, then I highly recommend you check out our Tinder 101 Hub. So this is going to move me into number 3 on my list, which is how to tell if you're shadow banned. As I said earlier, there are a couple different levels of being shadow banned. Of course, there's the low level shadow ban where you are limited in the amount of users that can see you, but you can still interact with other users on the app. And then there's full shadow bans where you can still seemingly send messages to the other users and you can swipe left and right on users. However, they won't actually see the messages that you send them, as you'll be like a ghost in this app. You don't exist other than just what you can see. So one of the first things you want to look at to see if you are actually shadow banned is that you will be presented a lot of low ELO profiles. So profiles that aren't complete, profiles of people that aren't the most attractive, and things along the lines of that. Now this alone isn't necessarily a hard piece of evidence for you to know if you're shadow banned or not, but it is alluding to the idea that they're not really presenting you profiles that would keep you on the app. Another thing to check as well is to see if you are getting messages back from any other users. So when users are typically shadow banned, they can send messages out to other people, but they will never ever get any back, and that's simply because they are shadow banned. So what you can do is you can act, especially if you were talking to multiple people and you had conversations going with multiple people and then all of a sudden they all stopped, that's a pretty sure piece of evidence that you're more likely than not shadow banned. Another piece of evidence as well is that before Tinder actually bans you, they may give you a warning for whatever you did that violated their rules. So when they give you this warning, that's going to be a little red flag for you that the next move they might do is not actually ban you, but shadow ban you, so that you can continually use the app without feeling like you're lost connection to it, but you really have. Another clue as to you maybe getting shadow banned is that if you were actually banned from Tinder and you made a new account, but you utilize the same information from your old account, like a phone number or a Facebook account or any other social media that's linked to that account, even the email address you used, it's more likely than not that Tinder has recognized that and shadow banned you right away. And the last piece of evidence that you can see if you've been shadow banned or not is that if you've made a new account, you can get access to the likes you section. Even if you haven't paid for it, it still tells you the number of people who have liked you. But if you've made a new account and it's been a few weeks now and you haven't gotten a single like on the app, then more likely than not, you have been shadow banned. Now, of course, worrying about being shadow banned shouldn't be the first thing in your mind. The first thing in your mind should be making a great profile and having great conversations. Now, having great conversations is the more difficult part for most people, but there is a Tinder online formula for you to do that. So that's why I want to tell you guys about a secret Tinder opening formula. A secret Tinder opening line formula is a great recipe for you to use if you want to open conversation with other people online. This formula has actually resulted in users having a 3 times higher response rate than they had before utilizing this formula. So if you'd like to have better conversations and therefore have better dates, I highly recommend that you check out our Tinder opening line formula. So this is going to move into number 4 on my list, which is how to remove a shadow ban. Now, right off the bat, I do want to tell you guys that removing a shadow ban is much more difficult than getting rid of a regular ban. If you're banned the usual way, you would typically just make a new account and try to not break the rules from there. However, if you've been banned multiple times, the next step that Tinder does is actually shadow ban your account, and it makes it difficult to know if you're actually shadow banned or not. So Tinder tracks everything that has ever been linked to your Tinder profile. And like I said earlier, this includes your email address, your Facebook account, your Instagram account, the Spotify you've used, the Google or Apple Store account that you've used, and even your cell phone number. So you want to make sure that you're using completely new forms of all of this when you are making a new Tinder account, so that there is zero connection from your old account to your new account. Some people even go to the extreme of getting an entire new physical phone, but I think that's a bit extreme and honestly kind of a myth. So in order to successfully get rid of a shadow ban, you are going to have to delete your current account. You're going to have to go onto Tinder, uninstall the app, even log into your Apple ID or Google Play ID and make a completely new account on that using a new email address, using a new phone number, using a new Facebook profile, the whole shebang. From there, you can reinstall Tinder, use all of the new accounts that you've utilized in order to make that new account. And even when you do log into your new Tinder account, be sure you're using new photos as well. You're not using the same photos that you were before, because Tinder absolutely stores that data as well. You can even be sure to reset your Wi-Fi so that you can get a new IP address. So go ahead and turn off your Wi-Fi router for about 5 minutes and turn it back on, and that will typically change your IP address. So if you do that, it'll be even more of an extent to make sure that Tinder does not follow your tracks. You should also utilize getting a new SIM card or use your friend's phone number if they aren't on Tinder so that the phone numbers don't match either. And if you utilize the paid versions of Tinder beforehand, be sure that you use a different credit card as well. So this is gonna move me into number 5 on my list, but before I jumped into that, I did wanna ask you guys to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, it really does help push our videos out so that more users can utilize this information from us here at Online for Love. We super duper appreciate it. So this is gonna move me into number 5 on my list, which is what to avoid with your new account. Now, honestly, it's not recommended that if you're banned from Tinder multiple times to actually go onto this app and do this. It's against their terms and policy and whatnot. So if you are banned from their account, it's best just to stay off of this actual app. But if you did really feel the need to go around all this, I again need to reiterate, you need to have completely new Instagram, new Facebook, new email account, new cell phone number, new everything, Spotify, Instagram, everything. I've had some people who have tried making a new account and they've done all that, but then they linked their old Instagram, and Tinder recognizes that. It knows, it's smart, and they really take their safety and security seriously. So if you want to get around that, you're gonna have to really walk on eggshells in order to do that. Of course, if you want to make sure that you're going to have the best profile ever when signing up for Tinder, you want to make sure that you check out our Tinder 101 Hub. Our Tinder 101 Hub consists of 70+ articles that give you the information needed in order to master Tinder. And another indispensable necessity is our Tinder opening line formula. Using the Tinder opening line formula, we've discovered that users have had a 3 times response rate that they had before. You can find those necessities in the links in the bio down below, along with our online dating app quiz and more. Now, if you guys want to see some more content from us, I do highly suggest you check out the videos popping up on my left and right here. And I did want to ask you guys again one more time to be sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Seriously, we super duper appreciate it. I'll catch you guys here next time on Online for Love. See ya.